If you expect me to reveal the entire philosophy in the first breath, I will disappoint you. Not because I wish to withhold it, but because great wealth has never opened itself to the man who listens casually. What I'm about to tell you can change your life completely, but only if your mind is prepared to receive it. There exists a pattern that every wealthy man I ever studied followed, whether he began with fortune or nothing but his hands. I have seen laborers rise above merchants, clerks rise above owners, and men with nothing but a worn coat build empires that shook the nation. They did not rise by chance. They rose because they learned the law. I will tell you this law. I will tell you everything, but not yet. For if I place the treasure in your hands before you understand its weight, you will treat it as lightly as you have treated every dream you once swore you would pursue. And nothing kills wealth faster than a man who treats its foundation as entertainment. Think now of the years you have struggled, the late nights staring at numbers that do not add up, the mornings when you rose with determination only to return home defeated by the same problems you faced the year before. The quiet shame you felt when you looked at your family and thought, I should be providing more. You are not alone. Thousands live this same cycle: hard work, small return, rising worry, quiet disappointment. The world teaches that wealth is reserved for the connected, the educated, the fortunate. But I spent my life studying those who proved otherwise, men who began where you stand now, with ordinary incomes, uncertain futures, and minds burdened by fear. I think of Henry Ford, who started as a simple machinist, earning barely enough to support a household. Yet he held within him a desire so definite that even poverty could not suppress it. He studied his craft after hours, built crude machines in dimly lit rooms, and refused to surrender to the ridicule of those who called him foolish. Years later, the world bowed to his vision. I think of Andrew Carnegie, who began as a poor bobbin boy earning a few coins a week. Yet inside him lived a fire no small job could extinguish. He used every spare moment to learn, to think, to plan. He outgrew his wage, outgrew his station, and built a fortune so vast that history still trembles beneath its memory. I think also of the countless unnamed men I met, clerks, salesmen, apprentices, who rose not because of opportunity, but because they decided opportunity would no longer ignore them. Their stories are not famous, yet they stand as proof that the law I'm about to reveal works for any man who obeys it. Your own life may not feel remarkable now, but neither did theirs. They too had families to support. They too wondered how they would afford the winter. They too felt the pressure of wanting to be more than their paycheck allowed. But they made one choice, a choice that altered the very direction of their existence. And that choice can become yours. Before I reveal anything further, I want you to imagine something, the life you secretly hunger for. A life where money no longer casts a shadow over your home. A life where your children look at you with admiration because you are no longer a man drowning in stress, but one who commands his days with confidence. A life where your spouse, once worried about the future, now walks with ease at your side. Picture the relief you would feel waking each morning knowing you are building wealth, not chasing it. Picture the pride of watching your savings grow, your debts disappear, your opportunities multiply. Picture the day your rivals, those who once doubted you, must face the uncomfortable truth that you have surpassed them. This future is not a fantasy. It is the natural result of applying the law. But most men never reach it because they rush past the foundation. They want the secret without the preparation. They want the result without the transformation. They want the wealth without the discipline of understanding what creates it. This is why I cannot give you everything at once. Not because I wish to tease you, but because if you miss a single sentence that precedes the law itself will fail you. Wealth is not a game of luck. It is a structure. Remove one supporting beam and the whole structure collapses. There is something else you must know. A man becomes wealthy not on the day he receives money, but on the day he receives a new identity. Wealth is first a thought, then a decision, then a discipline, long before it becomes a possession. Most men fail not because they lack opportunity, but because they remain the same man while asking for a different life. Ask yourself honestly, how many times have you promised to change? How many times have you said you would save, invest, improve, work differently, think differently, yet return to the same habits that kept you small? Wealth does not answer promises. It answers direction. And that is why you must listen closely. For I will reveal a direction powerful enough to shift the path of your entire life, but only if your attention is sharp. Miss one sentence, and the force weakens. Miss 1 minute, and the meaning dissolves. Miss the foundation, and the entire structure becomes worthless. Think now of your future self. 5 years from today, he exists, and he is either living in the same circumstances you know too well, or he is living in the rewards of the law you are about to hear. He may be wealthy, respected, confident, and at peace, or he may be burdened, anxious, and wondering when his life will finally change. Which version will greet you? The answer depends on how you listen in the next few minutes, for the law I am about to give you has created fortunes so astounding that historians still study them. It has lifted men from rags to riches, from obscurity to influence, from hopelessness to triumph. If you desire wealth, true wealth, lasting wealth, you must remain with me. Do not drift. Do not allow your mind to wander. Every word that follows is a stepping stone toward the life you hunger for. Skip one, and you stumble. Hear them all, and the path becomes clear. Stay with me, and I will tell you everything. Everything that the wealthy practice. Everything that lifts a man from little to much. Everything that turns desire into dollars, ideas into empires, and ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. Listen well, for what I am about to reveal has the power to change the very direction of your destiny. Wealth never begins in the hands. It begins in the mind that has been shaped for it. A man may labor from sunrise to dusk and still remain poor if his thoughts remain undisciplined. But another man, working no harder, rises because he has trained his mind to receive the idea of wealth long before a single dollar arrives. A mind must be softened before new truth can be planted. If the soil is hard, even the finest seed lies dead upon it. This is why so many men hear the principles of wealth, yet change nothing. Their minds resist the seed. They want the harvest while refusing the preparation that makes harvest possible. I observed this in the workshops of Henry Ford. He was an ordinary machinist, yet his thoughts were never ordinary. When his work was finished, he did not seek distraction. He studied engines, sketched designs, repaired machines others considered hopeless. He was preparing his mind for the fortune that would one day obey him. Andrew Carnegie did the same. As a young telegraph boy, he memorized every code, learned the habits of business leaders, and absorbed wisdom from each person above him. He was earning pennies, yet forming the mind of a millionaire. His wage was small, but his preparation was immense. Edward Bach followed this pattern as well. He worked in small offices for small pay, yet every evening he studied the craft of publishing. He did not wait to be promoted before preparing. He prepared to become valuable long before he had proof the world would ever reward him. These men had something in common. They understood that wealth must enter the mind before it can enter life. They knew that a mind without readiness wastes opportunities that would make another man wealthy. Many men receive chances without recognizing them, for their eyes have not been trained to see. The unprepared mind looks at opportunity and sees burden. The prepared mind looks at the same opportunity and sees advancement. That single difference separates the struggling from the rising. A man does not attract wealth by chance. He attracts it by the weight of his inner preparation. This is why I teach the law of inner weight. A man whose thoughts carry weight pulls greater chances into his orbit. People sense it. Circumstances respond to it. Employers trust it. Even rivals feel it. Wealth moves toward the man whose mind carries the gravity of purpose. Before the world notices this change, the household notices it. A man's family feels the shift long before the world announces it. His tone becomes sharper, his movements more deliberate, his decisions steadier. His spouse senses he is no longer drifting. His children watch him with new curiosity. This early shift is not yet wealth. It is preparation for wealth, yet it reshapes everything. A prepared mind becomes harder to deceive, harder to discourage, harder to derail. Confusion fades, clarity strengthens, and clarity saves time, years of time, because it protects a man from useless labor. Preparation saves decades. I say this without exaggeration. A single year of disciplined mental readiness can save 10 wasted years of wandering. A man who sharpens his mind gains judgment. Judgment removes error. And error is what consumes most of a man's life. I watched men in mills and factories spend 30 years repeating the same mistakes. They labored without thought, survived without learning, existed without purpose. They repeated the same dull year until life had nothing more to offer them, not because they lacked intelligence, but because they never prepared their minds to rise. Mental readiness shortens the distance between desire and achievement. It gives a man tools that others do not possess. The trained mind sees patterns in chaos. It detects advantage where others see obstacles. It senses direction where others feel lost. Wealth trusts such a mind. A prepared mind does not beg for opportunity. It creates it. Even in ordinary surroundings, it begins shaping small avenues of advancement. It studies. It listens. It observes. It extracts meaning from every experience. And in doing so, it becomes too valuable to remain unnoticed. This quiet preparation often begins after work, during hours most men waste. This is where the future is formed. Ford built his ideas in the dim corners of workshops. Carnegie learned finance by reading after others slept. Bach trained his understanding when others surrendered to fatigue. These extra hours form the foundation of wealth, not because they produce immediate results, but because they shape the mind into a vessel capable of holding greater responsibility. Wealth demands responsibility. Without preparation, responsibility crushes a man. With preparation, it refines him. But preparation is not merely study. It is self-control, clarity of purpose, and the shaping of daily habits. A man prepares by deciding what he wants and refusing to permit his mind to drift from it. Direction strengthens the mind like repeated training strengthens a muscle. Once a man's thoughts become definite, they begin to attract definite opportunities. This law has never failed. The man of purpose becomes a magnet. Employers trust him. Partners seek him. Mentors guide him. Even strangers sense that his life is moving somewhere important. The unprepared mind remains blind to these motions. It wonders why others rise while it remains small. It blames conditions, luck, or unfairness. It never suspects that the fault lies within. For without mental readiness, nothing good can remain in a man's life long enough to build upon. Preparation sharpens judgment. A man who has sharpened judgment makes decisions quickly and correctly. Decisions determine the course of years. One good decision can erase 10 years of drift. One poor decision can delay progress a decade. Mental readiness ensures the first and protects from the second. This is why I urge you to take this moment seriously. You are preparing your mind not for entertainment, but for transformation. What you absorb now can alter the course of your life. If you treat these principles lightly, they will disappear like smoke. If you treat them with gravity, they will stay with you forever. As you prepare, you will notice changes within yourself. You will feel irritation toward wasted time. You will feel discomfort with disorder. You will sense a new seriousness in your spirit. These are signs that the mind is awakening to its true capacity. Such feelings mark the beginning of wealth. Mental readiness is not glamorous. It is quiet, private, and unseen. Yet it forms the root system from which great fortunes grow. Without roots, no structure stands. Without grounded thought, no wealth remains. The rising man strengthens these roots long before he sees fruit. A prepared mind creates stability. It is not swayed by every fear. It is not shattered by every setback. It possesses a calmness that prosperity recognizes. Wealth flows toward calmness.